If you've ever been online, you may very well want to check out the website of archaeologist Ron Wyatt. Ron Wyatt made a special journey to the mountain of Ararat to try to locate Noah's Ark. And this is the material he came back with. A picture, my friends, of what appears to be in the shape of a boat. Around the edges of the picture you see right here and now were wood columns covered in tar. He was able to bring back some of that wood, and that wood sits now in a Christian museum. And that wood is covered with pitch. My friend, he also found great, huge stones that were used to hold down the ark as a form of an anchor. Another thing that he found are rivets, all kinds of metal rivets around the very area that you see here in the shape of an ark. Ron Wyatt also went to Sodom, where today there's a museum there, and you can see ashes. You can see ashes that they now know that that city was destroyed by fire. You can see chambers. You can see pictures of people walking down the streets of what was known as Sodom and Gomorrah. But one of the greatest archaeological discoveries that Ron Wyatt did was Ron Wyatt dove with divers in the Red Sea to see if he could locate just evidence to support the story of the Exodus. What you see here is a pharaoh's chariot sitting in a museum, and the very amount of spokes that are on that chariot wheel were found at the bottom of what is now known today as the Reed Sea or the Red Sea. The point is very clear. When he sent divers down there, they found coral reefs, coral things that were in the shape of wagon wheels, of chariot wheels. And when compared to Egyptian chariot wheels that we have in museums, they match perfectly clear. They also found a femur, bone fragments. They also found 2 thumbs. They also found other things that can substantiate the claims the Bible makes when it teaches that Moses did in fact part the Red Sea, and Pharaoh's army drowned in that very area. I hope, and it's my privilege, just an honor, to tell you how you need to educate yourself on the claims of what the Bible says about itself. Well, hi, I want to welcome you again to Steelton Bible Chapel, where it's our job as Christians to give an answer to every man that asks the hope that lies within you. You know, science is a big thing nowadays. We see it on the Learning Channel, the Discovery Channel, and many scientists have things they say disproves the Bible. Let me say something clear. The Bible is not a book about science. What does science teach? Science teaches the controlled environment. If you want to prove something really happened, you have to be in a controlled environment. You have to have, for example, an experiment. You will have a theory, and your job is to prove the facts. We can't do that with reincarnation, because you can't go back there and actually see it for yourself in a controlled environment back there when you were, let's say, a butterfly or whatever you were in a past life, and say, well, I have a theory, let me prove it by having an experiment. You just can't do that with the theory of evolution or reincarnation or anything else for that matter. The Bible is not a book about science. For example, if I want to see if ivory soap floats, I'm going to conduct an experiment. I'm going to have a theory that it does, but I have to prove it. Controlled environment, the classroom, the bucket, fill it with water, throw ivory soap in there, and ta-da! Ivory soap floats, hence it's a fact. You cannot do that with reincarnation. You can't do that with evolution. We have to deal with what we have today to substantiate the claims of what we're trying to prove. That's why it's called the theory of evolution, and that's why the Bible is called the book of life. One thing's very clear. The Bible is not a book about science, but the Bible does not disprove science. To the contrary, the Bible has taught us stuff about science long before we ever even knew those scientific things existed. I'll give you just a good example. Hydrology is the study of water, the properties, the distribution, the circulation, how it rains, the cycle, the hydrological cycle. Well, friends, let me say clearly that in Job 36:27 to 28, the Bible says, "For he makes the small, the drops of water, they pour down like rain according to the vapors thereof, which the clouds do drop and what? Distill upon man abundantly." How is the water coming down from heaven have anything to do with vapors, you might ask? Well, clearly, the sun heats up the lakes, the rivers, the oceans, and vapors go up to the sky, turn into pellets of water, and they come down to the earth, not only as rain, but distilled water, the salt water of the ocean. That, my friend, was in Job 36:27 to 28, long before man even discovered the cycle of water. That's called hydrology. There's another example in Psalms 135:7. He causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the heavens. He maketh lightnings from the rain. He brings forth the wind out of his treasures. If you're looking for scriptures that's going to help support the hydrological cycle that we have of rain today, you're going to find that in Job 36:27, Psalms 135:7, Job 26:8, Job 28:10, and Psalms 33:7. One thing's very clear. We just learned about that whole cycle of rain not 200 years ago, but the Bible knew that many, many years ago. Meteorology. Meteorology is the science of the atmosphere and atmospheric phenomena. Until Galileo's time, it was not known that air weighed differently. Air had weight. Yet thousands of years before Galileo, Job had said in the same book, because God revealed that to him, now watch, in Job 28:24, "For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven to make the weight for wind, and he weighs the water by measure." I mean, if you blow in a balloon, for example, gases that make the balloon float in the air, that shows that weight is different depending on different types of air. Same thing when you look in the sky. Air has weight. Nobody believed that until just recently. When you're talking about astronomy, for example, the number of the stars in the sky were counted in the days of Galileo. The number of the stars in the 17th